It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, welcome everyone to the Mayor's Report. I'm Sam Lesante, and we're here at the Hazleton Mayor's office, Mayor Jeff Cusat, keeping you up to date on what's going on. A lot of things happening, as you know, and so basically what we're trying to do each month, the various reports, is bring you up to date what's happening. Now, there's many of you who have been asking me questions about different reports we're doing. I highly recommend that you email me, sam@ssptv.com, and then I'll bring the question to the respective reports. You know, we have the Schuylkill Report, we have the Luzerne County Community Report, and we have the County Report, and now the Mayor's Report, bringing you up to date what's happening. Now, first of all, Mayor, how's my little girl doing?
Wonderful. She turned 9 months.
9 months.
Yep. Started crawling. First 2 teeth popped in. So it's good.
Every day is like an experience. Huh?
It is. It's wonderful.
It changes your entire life. You know.
Absolutely.
It's great. It makes coming to work. I felt when we had the twins. It was exciting just to go there and you know you're doing something that's worthwhile.
It's more exciting going home.
Yeah, it is. Let's talk about right off the bat the lawsuit that was, you know, one of those kind of political things in my estimate, in my opinion. How are we doing with the DOJ lawsuit?
We did file our brief today. We made a motion to dismiss. Hopefully it's accepted and this case could end before it really gets going. I hate to stick all that financial burden on the people of Hazleton for something that is basically baseless.
What was the lawsuit about? Just so those people who were...
The lawsuit was attempting to break the city into 5 voting districts, where each district would only be allowed to vote for a candidate that lives in that district. So the DOJ was trying to manipulate the city into having a solid Hispanic voter base in one, and then basically making the other 4 very weak. So I really, the way I look at it is they're not doing anybody justice. You know, they're making one strong Hispanic district, but making one very weak Hispanic district. And then, you know, it doesn't make sense how you cannot vote for all 5 of your representatives on city council. So basically, if you live in an area, you can only vote for the person that lives in your area.
You know, I wonder sometimes how these things come about. I mean, like, what would have brought them, the DOJ, to come in and tell the city, you know, what they should be doing? I mean, how does this start?
Well, usually it starts with a complaint from a citizen, and that their name would be attached to the lawsuit.
Was there a name attached to the lawsuit?
There was not a name attached to the lawsuit.
So how did this? Who filed? I mean, how did this come?
The DOJ just filed the lawsuit on behalf of itself, I guess. I'm not really sure how that would work, but they're alleging that multiple candidates have run for city council and have lost. Well, it happens every year. More candidates run than seats available, so you lose. It's cited that there has been 7 cases where this has happened, but I only recall 4 Hispanics running for office. So, you know, I ran the first time I lost. So to me, it's not really justified in any way. And then you could look at our upcoming election now. We have 3 seats open. There's only 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats running. You know, the 3 incumbents and then 1 new to the political arena. So like somebody has to lose, you know, so it's, you know, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, the problem I see here, I mean, again, is the cost that if this case is not dismissed, we're talking about some serious money that's going to come from the citizens from Hazleton.
Oh, it could be very, very costly. You know, we did reach out to several lawyers to defend us. And, you know, the estimates we got, $450, $600 per hour, you know, and going on. And you need multiple lawyers to work. I mean, the last time we were in a big case like this, it cost the city, I believe, $1.4 million, and that was a reduced rate.
Jeff, what we're seeing today, and this is, I mean, I'm not just saying this, but what we're seeing today in the country, the tremendous amount of fraud that has been taking place in Washington and the billions of dollars that have been wasted and people getting paid that don't even work, and you heard all of this stuff that's happening. And it's amazing how some politicians are fighting this, which always surprises me if there's an injustice going on. Looking at all of the things that are being exposed right now, the political things, do you think this lawsuit was basically politically motivated?
Absolutely, it was politically motivated. Somebody from Washington, D.C., who knows nothing about the city of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, could come in here and tell us what's best for the city, and we've been talking about this for months and months on doing a government study commission to evaluate our form of government anyway, and the reason we did this was when we were in Act 47, we were afforded many different remedies to problems that we're not entitled to now. A lot have to do with the revenue sources, and that's what got us out of Act 47. So our plan was, after we're out of Act 47, we got settled in to try to put the question on the ballot and see if the people agreed to evaluate our form of government. And that's what we were doing. So the DOJ case has nothing to do with the question. So if you would like us to evaluate our form of government, vote yes. If you're satisfied with the form of government we have now, you vote no. So there are 12 candidates that are going to be seeking to be part of that study commission. So you'll vote yes or no, and if it is a yes, you also vote on the candidates.
What will this the government study commission be looking? You just mentioned that, but what kind of form of government do we have now, and what will they be looking at?
Well, the question we posed is about changing from third-class city optional Plan B to a home rule type.
What does that mean?
A home rule is we make our own charter. The commission will sit down and go back and forth. We'll interview people from other municipalities, and we'll decide on what works best in our case, in our city. So you could talk about anything. You want to talk about the mayor. You want to talk about council, jobs, different positions that are available, ways of taxation, limits on taxation, homestead exemptions. All that stuff could be discussed and put into the charter, which is what everything else is based off of. So right now we follow third-class city optional Plan B, which our charter is told to us by the government, and and we're the only one left. I believe we're the only optional plan law left for a city in Pennsylvania. So we don't have the freedoms to do a lot of things that other municipalities do.
Based on what you're doing right now, okay, and where the city is, what would be your recommendation?
Well, I would like to evaluate it. Sitting here, there are a couple of things I'd like to change, which I won't bring it up until, if I'm part of the committee, or if the committee would ask me. So the committee, the 12 people that are on the ballot for the committee, or the current mayor, I'm going to run, the former mayor. We have 2 current city council members, 2 department heads for the city, and a city employee. There's a former candidate for mayor running. There's a school teacher. There's a secretary, and there's a head of a nonprofit organization. So there's a large variety of candidates out there. So those 12 people, we whittle down to 7. Those 7 people will discuss amongst themselves. They'll have to read the codes and familiarize yourself with what form of government we have now. And then we'll start reaching out to other municipalities that are home rule, that have ideas of what they did. A lot of cities have gone through this. A lot of cities are going through this currently. So it's a long process. It's a lot of hard work, but we want to put ourselves in a good position for the future. I believe last time this was voted on was 1985, and the commission took place in 86 with the new form of government going into effect in 1988.
So if it goes to home rule, okay, do we still have a strong mayor, or do we have a mayor that working with council, or how will that
Well,
work?
that would all be evaluated through this organization, the committee.
So what I'm thinking of is that, you know, I'm a citizen here in Hazleton. I'm looking for protection from the police department, the fire department. I'm looking for the roads to be done. I'm looking for growth. I'm looking for hopefully some help with taxation or whatever. And those are the factors that you live with, you know, every day, sort of, so to speak, correct? So you living with this every day, being in the office, knowing what you're seeing with all these departments, okay, how much of a influence do you think you would have then on this commission?
Well, I believe that I would probably know this government better than anybody that's in the city right now. I'm also said former Mayor Joe Yanuzzi.
Joe was very involved.
He's been here. He was part of the last study commission.
Yeah.
So he lived this form of government since it was conception, I guess. You know, so I think that the knowledge that we would have working every day, you know, with it, by the time it comes through, I would have 10, 12 years of service. You know, Joe, many years here. So the knowledge there would be, instead of having to go back and read it and try to familiarize, because the optional plan law is very confusing. You know, a lot of people don't even understand that there are different forms of government. So, you know.
That's why I'm trying to give them as much information, the public information, as possible. Folks, I'm talking to Mayor Cusat. We're looking at the mayor's report. A lot of interesting things. I want to stay on this subject about a few things because it affects your lives. But I mean, keep in mind, I was talking to someone from Sugarloaf the other day, and they said how interesting it was for her to see what's happening in the city. And you know, as you know, what happens in Hazleton, it does affect a lot of different areas. So I'm glad that the people who do not live in Hazleton are interested in the show, because it's bringing information to you. And boy, we need as much information as we can. We'll be back right after this. Well, welcome back, everyone. I'm Sam Lesante. We're here at the mayor's office in Hazleton. Jeff Cusat, who is the mayor. We're talking about the mayor's report. And as you know, 24/7, you can watch all of our shows on ssptv.com, plus our YouTube channel. For those of you who do not have cable, which I think you should, but anyway, you can watch us on the YouTube channel. We have the Schuylkill Report, the Luzerne County Community College Report, and the Luzerne County Report, bringing you information as much as we possibly can give you. sam@ssptv.com is the email. Let's get back to two things. First of all, before I forget, Hazleton Public Transit, main sponsors for this show, and I want to thank them for supporting the show. Getting back to how is this city doing now?
We're doing well. You know, I believe we're heading in the right direction. You know, we're cleaning up a lot of old stuff that needed to be rectified, and we're really just moving on. And that's another part with this government study commission, is just trying to put everything in perspective to move the city forward. You know, we did the code book. We have the new comprehensive plan coming out later this month. Hopefully it'll be made available to the public, and the planning commission, and that involves the city, West Hazleton and Hazel Township, which is going to make it a lot easier for people to get other municipalities to get grants, because it's already in the plan. We did the zoning. We're working on the new saldo. So we're just trying to update and correct a lot of the things that need to be in place to make this city really move forward.
And this is going to be with the home rule charter, or just?
Well, home rule is just another step in the process. You know, putting us, you know, on a good path forward.
So my thoughts would be, if a company is doing well, and everything is going the way it should be, and everyone's getting what they have to get, you know, why do you want to change things?
Well, the main reason we brought up the Government Study Commission was because during Act 47, we were allowed to move our revenue sources around. Instead of just using plain property taxes. The property taxes are getting a little higher, and there's other sources out there that you're allowed to utilize during Act 47, or if you're in homeroom. Once we came out of Act 47, we had to revert back to using the sources that were available to us, which is mainly property tax. And there's a lot of people that have been living here a long time, and we don't want that burden to fall just on the property tax owners.
Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Yeah. And when you have guys like Joe Yannuzzi, who has been involved in the city many years, and of course you running as well, it brings a lot of knowledge, and experience, which is important instead of going back, And I think that's, it's like going to a doctor. You want to have someone who has experience. I mean, when you think so?
I do. I mean, I feel that I'm a good candidate, or I wouldn't have put my name on the ballot. I feel that, the code book that we have, I have basically went through and modified almost every ordinance in that book. So I do believe that I have a vast knowledge of the current state of the city.
Now, moving on to, we had the DOJ lawsuit. I understand the city is faced with another lawsuit.
Unfortunately, we were made aware of another lawsuit yesterday. We have not been served, but yet again, there's another lawsuit that involves towing. So this will be our fourth litigation involving towing in the city. So like I said, we have not been served. We are aware of it. In the past, there has been settlements made by our insurance carrier. We've adamantly deny any wrongdoings. However, the insurance company, they always look at the financial part of it, and they felt that it was better to settle the lawsuits than actually litigate them through. So this newest lawsuit dates all the way back to 2016. We did contact our insurance carrier again today and made them aware of another situation that continues from back.
Let's move on to some happy things, okay? Some happy things happening. There's always some happy things.
Oh,
okay?
One more thing I didn't say. There was also allegations on social media this week that said that the city settled a $1 million lawsuit this year, 2025, which we did not. We have never settled a lawsuit for $1 million. So I just want to put people at ease. We have not settled a lawsuit.
You just pop something. What I really can't understand, Jeff, is the crap that is on social media that people believe. I go to some clients and they say, I'm on social media, and that's okay. But when you read and see things like you just said, and I'm not on social media, I'm not on Facebook, because I think it's a lot of nonsense to me. Now, if Facebook is used properly, I think it's beneficial. But when you look at people that could demean you, they could say things about you, and you have no recourse, I think it's totally disgusting. And for those people who, I hope they're smart enough to understand that, I just think it's total crap. Now, that's a pet peeve I have, as you could tell.
It's a great idea, and it's awesome to be able to communicate with people when it's real.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's getting worse with
if they don't like you, they'll say everything you want to. They'll say about you.
But everything can be manipulated.
Yeah.
The images are altered, wording is altered.
Yes.
With the creation of AI, you could put somebody's face on somebody else's body and make it look like they're doing something they're not. There's videos out there with me singing. You put my face on it, and it brings pictures to life, and it's really cool. Like, you see the advertisements for, old-time pictures where they could take a picture of your father, grandfather, great-grandfather, and they bring it AI, they bring it to life, and they can make it talk to you. And that's awesome. That's really great to be able to have that few seconds of interaction with somebody that you may never have met. But what they're doing with social media and the AI.
Well, if they
is
don't
really
if they don't like
disgusting.
you, if they don't
Oh,
like me,
it's-
if they don't like a person who's running against you, or they, I mean, and it's you don't have the facts. Like again, not plugging local media. We're looking at neighborhood shows here. We're talking to Jeff Cusat. You're saying it. We're listening to you. Okay. Big difference between what we have, in social media. Let's move on to happy things, okay? We have some interesting things happening. We have Tulip Day. We have the Easter Bunny coming. Tell us about those
Well,
events.
we have a new event that just came up, and we were offered the opportunity to bring it to the citizens of Hazleton. It's going to be a Tulip Day, Sunday, April 6th. From 11 o'clock, I believe, till 4 at the Can-Do Park on Broad and Laurel Street. We will have 50,000 tulips, and every person...
50,000?
50,000 tulips were given to the city. We're working with Van Holken, and everybody will be allowed to come down and pick 10 tulips. We pull them out from the bulb down, that way you can take them home with you, and they'll be there forever.
Wow.
So,
What day is this? April 6th?
April 6th, Sunday, April 6th.
Where do they have to go?
Downtown. We're going to go downtown to the Can-Do Park on Broad and Laurel Street, and you're going to be able to go through, pick 10 tulips, and then take them home with you.
Good.
This is going on.
And they can plant them.
And you plant them at home, and they come up every year. But this is huge. There's one going on in San Francisco right now where it's just, I believe New York just did theirs. So we're very fortunate that we had somebody, that wants to.
50,000.
50,000. I'm not sure 50,000 are going to fit in that park.
I don't know.
It's 500 crates.
Wow.
Of them. Wow. It's a lot. But we're going to do our best, and I believe the DJ, some food trucks. So we're going to try to make a whole day of it.
And then April 13th
April 13th, which is Palm Sunday.
Yeah.
We're going to have our Easter Bunny Trail up at City View Park. Last year, I believe there was 800 kids that came up there.
That was beautiful. Yeah.
And we have a lot of organizations and people that are going to come and hand out candy to the children. And it's just growing every year. It's a wonderful event. So hopefully.
I just think I brought tears when I was watching it on the news, and I saw it was so nice. It was really nice. All those kids were and the families. It was just a
It's great.
Day.
Like Halloween is even bigger.
Yeah.
But Easter, you actually see the kids' faces. There's
Yeah.
no masks. They're not dressed up.
Yeah.
They're not as bundled in their winter coats. So it's a little bit of a different feeling.
I was talking to a delegation. They go to Palm Sunday Mass, and then after the Mass, they went up to the park, and it was a lot of fun for them.
It is. It's really a great community event. And then we also have the summer schedule start up there.
Yeah.
Start with the pole climber event, the National Pole Climber Rodeo.
When is that?
That's June 20th. And then we will start the Rock the Mountains, June 27th, wow. July 4th. The firework event on Sunday. It's going to be Sunday night, July 6th. And then we're going to go back into Rock the Mountain on August 1st, August 8th, and August 15th. So we have a
lot of things.
A lot of things going on.
And I'm sure we'll talk
about them next month.
Yeah, we got a minute left. Did we survive the winter with our roads and potholes and you name it?
Well, we're starting to evaluate the streets and potholes now. We were out there with the hot patch today. First time we were able to get some hot material in there. So we'll start repairing the roads until we could actually make fixes. Permanent fixes.
Well, keep up the good work, and please give your baby girl a hug from me. She's a beautiful girl. Folks, we're talking about the Mayor's Report. Jeff Cusat. Social media, my friends, used properly, fine. But when I hear about things that are on that media which are disgusting, how they lie and distort. I mean, it's just, you want to talk about social media? This is social media. TV, local television programming, bringing you factual information, not nonsense. Sam at ssptv.com. Any questions, any comments? Love to have them. We'll see you next time.